If your business is bad right now and you market it, guess what? It will become worse. People will perceive it to be super bad because the reality of people is all about perspective. Sometimes what's real for me is not what's real for you. Today, we are going to learn how to do public speaking. There are certainly a lot that comes when you become an in-demand speaker. What happens is suddenly you know and you realize you can make money. Maybe you don't make money per talk, but like me, when I speak and I get them as a client, that's good revenue. You get fame. Hindi naman fame na kagaya ng celebrities, no? Pero for one day, if you speak in an event, you're the most famous person in that event. Have you watched the MaxiCare video pala?
Flashback.
Sabi sa akin, Sean, most of your audience today are millennials. I just want to verify.
End of flashback.
In that event, there were hundreds of people. You're like a celebrity there. After the talk, ikaw yung lalapitan, magpapa-selfie sa'yo. Since I sell my book there, I sign it, they buy it, I sign it, then selfie. Yun yung combo eh. Buy, sign, selfie. Nakakapagod. It comes with public speaking. Money, fame, power. When they say power, you gain more authority. People listen to you. They believe you. So you have to know what you're talking about. This will be your spirit's struggles if you're not anchored very well in Christ. Instead, may I suggest that you start speaking for these other things, which is serving others, spreading wisdom, and giving life. Because this is what the world needs. Gold there is and rubies in abundance, but lips that speak knowledge are a rare jewel. It was King Solomon who wrote that. And he's the wisest man who's ever lived. And he himself knows, bibihira yun. Which tells us the need for it is extremely high. As you begin, these are going to be the more immediate benefits. One of them is your branding. You gotta have it. Your positioning in the market. What's my branding? I don't speak about just about anything. When people get me as a speaker or companies get me as a speaker, it's usually about three main things. Number one is leadership. Number two, sales. And number three is digital marketing. May mga in-between yun. For example, sa MaxiCare na talk, they wanted digital transformation. Kasi yung problema nila, sabi nila sa akin,
Sean, our people, they're, a little bit more advanced in years. They don't want to adapt na to the new technologies we have. They feel like we're making their lives more difficult. How can we convince them that we're actually here to help them?
and then what happens is you also get good word of mouth for you, for who you are, how well you talk, marketing. So you have branding, you have good marketing, and then you build skill sets. Why? Because you're gonna create your own PowerPoint. So kailangan mo mag-research. You have to meet deadlines. You have to do it ahead of time. Why? This PowerPoint is around 170 slides. So I had to make it early. In fact, the outline I made more than a year ago. So it's not easy to create a talk and then piece it all together. Here's the problem. A lot of speakers today are not good. Have you ever heard a speaker that sucked and you were bored out of your wits and you had to endure it? I don't know about you, but I've heard a lot. And I really just tried to tune in para lang matapos ko. Kasi baka may pulot ako eh. Alam mo yun? Pero kung ako papapiliin, parang mas gugustuhin ko pa makinig sa ibang speaker. Here's the problem. But there's an opportunity because of this problem. Okay? So, not only the new speakers are mostly not good, but even the ones who've been doing it quite a while. A lot of them suck because they don't practice, they don't prepare. This you can use to your advantage. As you take the stage, people don't know who you are, they don't expect a lot from you. But if you deliver well, you go and exceed their expectations, biglang sobrang ganda naman ang tingin nila sa'yo. Some might even invite you to another up-and-coming event. Hindi malabo to. This often happens to me. Before, when I spoke for free, and they liked my talk, they would invite me to their event, their school, their whatever, celebration of something. Ganun yung nangyayari. So word of mouth happens. To be able to have a great talk, there must be something in you that exists. If you don't have it established in your life, you will not really be able to deliver a great talk. And that is your principles. Principles are extremely important because they make you decide very quickly. So for example, in business, I have a principle of not allowing companies to lowball our price. So if a company will approach me and say,
Sean, you're 40% more expensive than your competitors. In fact, two of them work for two of our brands. So we know their price. You're 40% more expensive. Halos 50%.
so sabi ko, okay, look, we are more expensive, but if you search SEO Philippines, we're number one. Where are they? They don't have their in-house development team. I do everything in-house. There's just so much value that we have. If you can't afford it, that's okay. We can wait for you to be able to afford it. But if they don't produce results,
You can call me anytime.
then you know who to call. But some business owners will be like,
Sige na, ibabagsak ko na yung presyo ko sa'yo, di ba?
because they don't have a principle of principles are very important. Right now, there's just one principle that I need you to have before you start speaking in public. And that is the one-man principle. Who you are on stage should be who you are off stage. Maybe it's not possible to have like complete 100% of the time na ganito, but as much as you can. Who you are on stage should be who you are off stage. Otherwise, your entire platform will come to nothing. And we've seen this also with some pastors who struggled, diba, fell. Yan talaga. Buong platform nila sira. Pati yung church nila sira. Speaking expedites who you are inside to the rest of the world. Parang marketing lang yan eh. I'm in the marketing business, digital marketing. And they tell me,
Sean, when do we start marketing? We're a startup. Should we do it now?
I'm like, okay, let me assess where you are. Di pa kayo ready. And they'd be like,
Ba't di pa kami ready? Marketing is important.
yeah, but marketing is a catalyst. If your business is bad right now and you market it, guess what? It will become worse. People will perceive it to be super bad. Because the reality of people is all about perspective. Sometimes what's real for me is not what's real for you. But there's an absolute truth. There's an absolute perspective. But perception, that's what marketing plays at. So, if you market it now, sasabog yan. And pag sumabog yan, malalaman nilang di pa kayo ready. More businesses die from choking than from starvation. Same with speaking. You start speaking, you don't have yourself together, you just expedite that to the rest of the world. The best source of principles, we all know it, God's Word. The author of all principles, of all good principles. It's the source of our moral compass. Study it, meditate on it daily. Do you read the Bible every day? Good. Have you finished the Bible? Great. Keep it up for the rest of your life. That's really what we need. No? Become a truly great speaker by going to the source of who made our mouths, of who made our minds. There are several parts to speaking. The first one is the pre-show. Ano tong pre-show? So when you're invited to speak, that's the pre-show. Kung walang briefing, ask for a briefing. Kasi hindi pwedeng sabihin sa'yo,
You speak about this, ha?
and then ikaw, yes sir. And then let's meet during the day. It cannot be like that. When they say you speak about this, you tell them, can we have a briefing? It could be a Zoom call, it could be a face-to-face. During that briefing, get a pen and paper or your laptop and write down the most important talking points. This helps to clarify what you're expected to do so that you can exceed it. Some questions I ask all the time. What is the theme of the event? Bakit ko to tinatanong? Because sometimes they will tell you,
Sean, this is your talk.
but I don't know the rest of the theme of the event. So the context of my talk could be not so good. So with MaxiCare, I asked, what's the theme of the event? And they told me.
You're the only speaker.
So I'm like, okay, gets ko na. But if they tell me,
The theme is like this and there's two other speakers. And they're gonna be talking about this and that.
then it changes the entire chemistry. And I have to modify my talk and the outline to match theirs. Topic, usually, it's given to you. Wala ka na magagawa doon. But the theme of the event, you gotta know what it is. What does success for this event look like to you? If they're not clear about it, then keep on asking questions so that it becomes clear to you. What are your learning goals for the audience as they go back home? So they have their KPIs, what winning looks like, and then there's the what do you want them to learn? What do you want them to tell their spouses, their parents, their children? You don't have to hit all of your organizers' shopping list. Minsan sa briefing, 3-4 sila nagsasalita sa ibang level ng kumpanya. Ang daming sinasabi, iba-ibang direction. Magulo. Happens more often than you think. What I usually do is I take control of the entire meeting and say, okay, this is gonna be our direction, ha? Ganito, ganyan. And then I will ask them, does that work for you? Does this sound good to you? And if they say, okay, yeah, go na tayo. And usually kasi, pag hindi sila nag-usap at magulo sila, kung ano yung sasabihin mo, basta may mahit ka dun sa mga talking points nila earlier, okay na yun. Just be true to your best delivery. Hindi mo kailangan check lahat ng gusto ng organizer. Just be true to your best delivery. I also ask if I have a projector, if I can be the one to control the PowerPoint. I don't like them putting someone in, I have to keep saying next slide because I have 170 slides. Imagine how much saliva I'd need to gastos for that, di ba? So I like having my own clicker, having my own HDMI converter, cable, whatever. No? So bring everything. If walang saksakan, dun yung saksakan, I have my power bank for my laptop. Okay? Make sure to bring everything. You don't want to be bogged down by technical problems. Right? Bigla nag-off yung laptop ko. Lipat natin dito yung hassle. Unnecessary. I just bring a power bank. Done. Ask about the audience's age, range, head count, work background. In that MaxiCare talk, I asked them, what's the age range? And they're like,
Mostly millennials.
head count is important because like this, mas relaxed. Hindi pwedeng masyado kong formal. We have to be relaxed. We have to be very engaged with each other. Kasi small crowd eh. Bigger crowd, I asked na, meron bang pupunta dun sa event? May kakilala ba ako? Bigger crowd. So very different dynamics pag bigger yung audience. I also asked if they require me to speak in straight English or Taglish. So there are times when I could see some foreigners in the crowd, and then I ask a show of hands, does everyone here understand Tagalog? Can I see a show of hands of who cannot understand Tagalog? If the foreigners raise their hands, then I will speak straight English. If they didn't, kahit may isa, then I would speak straight English. Because it's respect eh, to the person. But if the foreigner doesn't raise his or her hand, sabihin nakakaintindi siya ng Tagalog, so Taglish na. When you get to the venue, maganda, you talk with the audience before you go to the stage. In that particular talk that you watched in MaxiCare, I was there early. I was there like an hour early. So I got to talk with them. And I asked them, what do you expect in this event? You do that so that you can get a feel of who they are, what they do, and what they expect out of the event. As you take to the stage, make sure that you're introduced properly to establish your authority and believability. Always remember, when you're speaking on stage, your only currency is not money, it's authority. You either get more of it or less of it. That's it. That's the only currency you deal with. So, if you're not introduced well, you start with authority score of 0. If you're introduced well, that adds up to your authority. Why do I have my slides pa na who I am, books I've written, certifications? Because if I'm introduced wrongly or kulang, then I continue to introduce myself. Because the only currency when you're on stage is authority. This is very important as most of the people in the audience has never heard about. In that particular talk that you watched, most of them never heard about me. So I have to be introduced well.